It's Rocco Brown from MyGamingJourney.com, and if you're new here, we're back with another ranked 1v1 match. Essentially just me analyzing my gameplay. At the time of this recording, I am a Gold 3 player, so please, if you're looking for any pro-based knowledge, this is not the place for you. I'm only going to provide insight on my essential pros, cons, and me essentially trying to get better. So this is us analyzing it together. Feel free, leave any questions, comments, and concerns below. Any tips, tricks that you may have, and more importantly, keep everything on topic and keep it respectful. Right, so I am primarily a House of Lancaster main. That's what I tend to play the most. I can play a little bit of English, and I also play a little bit of Japanese, but House of Lancaster is primarily my go-to. So with that being said, we're teeing off today against a Mongols player. I believe this gentleman and or young lady, I'm not sure specifically, but I believe they were a Platinum 1 at the time of this recording, and yet again, I am a Gold 3 and was a Gold 3 at the time of this game as well. So let's dive into it. Let's see what happens from here. So I tend to go with 6 on wood, literally start off with 6 on wood, immediately 2 or 7 on food, and then immediately 3 over on gold is kind of my go-to, what I like to do, and essentially I'll age up from there. So a little bit of scouting going on. One of my least favorite matchups would be the Mongols, and don't ask me why that happened. I remember that hiccup that happened in the game, and it was not ideal. And I did misspeak, not 7 on food, 6 on food, 3 to gold, and then I'll go up to 13 villagers in total. The remainder will be on food, and I'll age up from there. So 13 in total prior to aging. But I say all of that to say this, nothing too out of the ordinary, pretty standard. And back to what I was mentioning in regards to Mongols, I am not a fan of this matchup, right? Especially when you're playing on maps that have very, very short rush distances. It's a headache for me personally, because I always at least try to get out, 3 manors before I have to even dedicate or move into production. But nowadays I can at least get out 1 manor before I have to move into production from there. Now, if you're a better player, naturally the pros, someone who may be platinum level, diamond level, even other gold players, you may be a little bit more hands-on and a little bit better when it comes to the multitasking and being able to defend. But the headache that I come across, especially with Mongol players, is that even with scouting, it's very hard early on to figure out what they're coming with, meaning they can drop a stable, they can drop archery range, or are they coming with horse archers, or are they coming with regular horses? And naturally, these are things, at least the regular horses, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something that they can even do in the Dark Age, right? So long story short, I tend to age up with Lancaster Castle. I'll age up with 3 of those, 3 workers for my gold. I'll put 3 onto my stone, and then I'll go 3 to wood, and I'll rally over to wood from there. Ideally, if it's a civ that isn't rush worthy, or they're not committing to rushing, or they don't have the capability to rush, quote unquote, I like to mess around and get those 3 manors up if at all possible, right? But preemptively, even with scouting around, getting sheep, and then getting ready to go back to my opponent's base, what I tend to do, instead of after I rally 8 on wood, I then start rallying over to food, because primarily in my mind, I need naturally food and wood to start producing units. The wood comes with the production buildings, and then naturally the wood and the food is what I need to produce archers, spearmen, etc. You know what I mean? So nothing too crazy. My typical opening. I don't do much in the way of, what is the other, Abbey of Kings. You won't find me using the Abbey of Kings often myself, right? Nothing against it, it's just not something that I typically open with, because ideally I want to get those manors out as quickly as possible. And you can get the manors out with the Abbey of Kings, but just having the Lancaster Castle and the manors surrounding it, basically serving as extra towers, a little bit more beneficial for me, especially because I don't react super efficiently or super well with early aggression and raids. So you'll notice that even as the game goes on, you'll probably see me put towers on my different resources just because it helps me with reaction time and to minimize my worker losses, right? So I'm still scouting around trying to get a decent chunk of deer. I throw down my one, what's it called, manor, and let's take a quick little look on this side because I want to see. Still haven't scouted and see what my man's going for yet, right? So at this point in time, he only has the con. No production buildings, good for me. But being that my scouting is a little bit lackluster, and not because I'm not being active on the map, as you can see, I'm going around and trying to get my hands on everything that I can. But here we are, 3 on gold still, 3 on stone, 4 on wood. Pumping out and getting the production building up. Normally what would happen is I would only leave 3 on food. I would have 8 on wood, as you see right now, and then I would rally everything else onto gold up until I get about 10 on gold, just to get those manors out, get up to about 6, and then from there, you know, go up to castle age, right? So gentlemen had a, what I would deem to be a later, over here just to see a later feudal timing, but still nothing. Let me come back over on my side. Let's see what I see. What's going on here? So, scouting around, I don't see any production buildings. I see a decent chunk of sheep. So for me, I'm like, okay, let me start moving and rallying a little bit back on gold, if I remember correctly. Or am I still rallying on food? No. Okay, and I'm rallying on gold again. So my thought process was, is since I didn't see any production buildings, I can get back to getting greedy so I can turn around and start getting up some more manors, right? So I wanted to get at least 10 up on gold. You see I have spearmen ready over at the wood. I have archery range ready, and this is just in the event that I need to start pumping out units. Ideally, once again, if it's a civ that I don't have to worry about aggression from, then I would have never bothered with the barracks or the archery range early on. I just would have tried to get greedy, get out these manors, get the stone I need, get the gold I need, and go from there. And it's another thing that you'll notice as well is I did end up building a tower on my stone, right? So that's what's going on here. Idle villagers never good. Cons, right? I won't call it a con as of yet because I got a lot of scouting done on the map as a whole. But one thing that I struggle with is getting good intel on my opponent, right? So just continuous scouting, continually going around the base, checking for production buildings, checking for, you know, what resources they may be favoring, just to get an idea of what they may or may not be doing, right? I'm getting out manors, and so far we're looking good. One thing I could have done, quick little pause, I could have put that second manor over by my stone, right? But my thought process, and again, something I could have did in hindsight 2020, but my thought process was, is like, okay, I put the tower on the stone so it wasn't the worst, but a little bit of added protection wouldn't have been bad, right? So I'm seeing we got things coming across the map, right? Things coming across the map, waiting to see what's what. I knew the con was scouting me, but I did see on the mini map, okay, we got people coming. So what is going on? So 3 archers in production now, and now I'm rallying back over to wood now, right? I figured the 2, get them inside, and what did they do? Okay, so my thought, I should have pulled him back. Fortunately, I don't think he lives. Okay, so I'm rallying over to wood now because in my mind I have 8 on food, I have 2 manors. Naturally the manors produce wood and food, so 45 wood per minute, 60 food per minute. So I'm like, okay, let me get some more production up and let me see what's going on with this incoming attack furthermore, right? at 662 gold. This is another thing I struggle with that I do need to do better. The moment I hit that 662 or I hit that 600 in total, I should be pulling these workers off gold. Instead, I end up letting them sit, and I do this often, right? I need to re-macro and not just focus more so on the build order and actually re-macro a bit to even out things that I may or may not need. So I could have went over to gold at this point. I could have split up, you know, 3 of them onto, what's it called? 3 of them on the food, 3 of them onto wood, and went from there. Something that could have been done. So got the stable out, just trying to do a little bit of the hard counters. I should not be supply blocked here, unfortunately. And I'm still not building a house, unfortunately. Idle villagers, and the town sitter, all of this, right? So not good business. And I'm losing. One track man, y'all. I see he's committed at this point. My thought process was I'm going to be in feudal for a bit because I have to end up producing more and more army. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm even doing that effectively. Don't get me wrong, I got 6 archers over here. I'm pumping out horses as well, but look at this lacking. Food is lacking tremendously. Finally pulled the workers off a gold pool, right? Put them on stone, but still lacking on food. And losing army. So I should immediately pull back the base. I should have been fighting underneath town centers, fighting underneath towers, all of that. But I donated and gave away a lot of units. So this is what we got going on right now. Just a few cons that come to mind immediately. Idle villagers. Additionally, not only idle villagers, my macro was slacking. Missing out on production. I should have started adding in a lot more production the moment I seen those units streaming down. Those additional units, not the first wave that I fought off, but the additional units that came. There should have been more production that I was adding because I had a ton of wood, right? And yet again, I'm still rallying to wood instead of get more food in the mix as well, unfortunately. So that's kind of what we got going on thus far. A ton of gold, not a lot of wood, not a lot of food, but a ton of gold. Get some production situated. 3 manors. And now, what am I doing with these? I think, did I start building the wall or did I? Okay, no. No. So, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, when I saw more and more units, my thought process was that I was going to be in feudal for a lot longer than I wanted to be. So, the production, the, the towers, and then starting to get some upgrades, right? So, that's kind of what we're working with at this point in time. Supply blocked again. Yo. Killing me, y'all. Killing me. Don't be like me, be better. So let's take a quick little look and let's see what my guy got going on his end. Building rams. Happened to see them on that end. Let's see what his production's looking like. So 2 archery ranges, 1 barracks. Doesn't seem to be overreacting. Got a lot of units, but nothing too crazy. Let me switch back over. Let's see how I play this. I'm pulling some workers. Idea was not to be fighting with them, y'all. That was not the plan, to fight with the workers. Hopefully I get them out of there. Of course, I'm losing workers because I should not even be fighting with them. Don't ask me why they're still there, but they are. So let me take a quick little look at something really quickly. Upgrade wise, it doesn't look like he's working with much at this point. So currently for me, 1-1 on this end. And then on his end, just out of curiosity, does he even have upgrades at this point? No. So no upgrades for him. So that's what ends up happening. I end up pushing him out of there. I get a little overzealous, and I won't say overzealous, but my thought process was at this point, I just won that decisive battle. Let me move over to the middle, and let's see if I can secure that gold over in the middle, right? That was at least the plan. So now I'm looking around, seeing if I can find some workers. I was like, oh. Found a little something. Found a little something, y'all. But then I end up losing him. I remember this in the game. And I'm like, I can't. Matter of fact, I need to watch it from his angle. Because I literally. Oh, it was only one. I thought there were more workers. So I didn't lose him. I remember I was running around because I thought he shook me. And I was like, where'd the rest of these workers go, y'all? So it was only a few. Okay. So not too bad. Again, this is why I put towers on my resources, because like I mentioned, y'all, I'm not amazing when it comes to dealing with raids. I end up losing a lot of workers, unfortunately, and it's not ideal. So at this point in time, I remember I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, I won a pretty good battle. I'm getting ready to go up. He beat me up to age 3. I'm looking for some worker kills. Just trying to be a little bit proactive on the map. And my thought process was, okay, let's get this white tower up here. Start building more production building in the front. And then I can reinforce things and go to town. So got our upgrade. We can go up to 6 matters now. I'm getting horticulture, getting wheelbarrow. Upgrade wise, I know I'll start to pump those out. Getting veterancy for my spearmen, getting veterancy for my archers, and just getting some, economic upgrades as well. So I'm at 80 out of 90 supply, 48 workers. What's his economy looking like? 68 workers. Yo, is he on 2TC? He is on 2TC. Slow you back down for a second. Okay. So this is what we got going on. So I added in some more production. White tower in the front. I know that's I believe the biggest gold vein on this particular map. So yet again, my thought process was, let me make my way out there, start locking that down, and go to town. More economic upgrades and military academy, right? And then of course more production. The one thing I probably could have added right here, okay, I did get the monastery. I was going to say I could have probably put it right next to the white tower and got that relic out relatively quickly, but I did not. But I do have a monastery out, so I'm going to try to go grab some relics and go to town from there. So I am happy, even though I got a bunch in queue, at least I'm still producing workers. As I mentioned, that is something that I struggle with. At this stage, my army should have probably been bigger. Like, I'm getting a few things here and there. Upgrades, amazing, but not the most amazing thing when you don't have an army to support those upgrades, essentially. And it looks like, am I just rallying to gold at this point? Yeah, I'm just rallying over to the big gold. So, that's what we got going on so far, ladies and gents. Pros for me, in my eyes, I'm still building workers, right? So I'm still building workers. That's big for me. Might not be a big accomplishment for you, but that's big for me. So I'm still building workers. 14 on food, 12 on wood, 17 on gold. I probably could have started adding a few more onto stone at this point And then upgrades. We're getting a decent chunk of upgrades, but yet again, the upgrades don't mean much when you don't have a decent army size, right? And then we're about to knock out our first relic. So, walls up in certain areas, just to try to lock down the map, but I am still susceptible to a lot of different things. So here, susceptible. Here, he can run on pass. Same here. Very susceptible in those particular areas, and that's no bueno. But that's what we're working with now, and that's the reality. Looks like I got another relic. Now let me take a quick little look on the other side, and let's get an idea what his army's looking like, if anything. Okay, I found some workers. Good, so at least 2 worker kills. Decent size army for him. Now for me, I remember I was like, let me not lead him over to my boy, right? I was like, go somewhere, but I don't want to lead him there. So upgrade wise, I still don't see a what's it called at all. I don't see an armory for upgrades on his end, but he is up score wise, right? Up until a second ago. So we're doing decently, right? I'm getting upgrades still, and I'm like, what is going on here? I saw him try to get over there to try to save my... There we go. I ended up saving him, but I'm like, I know he's trying to come on this side as well. Tell me, does he still not have a... And then this was when the raid started. So I'm like, okay. Gotta try to rally units to a few different places, and I gotta try to get over here to try to stop this nonsense. Another thing I don't do well is just separating army-wise, right? Something else I gotta do well. So I didn't end up taking too much damage this particular raid. Got another relic I just heard. Now I'm making some knights. Trying to buff up and beef up my army a bit. So if I remember correctly, I'm smart enough to run back over there and close that wall back up. But I don't remember if it ends well, to say the least. So production-wise, we don't have a lot, if we're being real, right? 2 stables, main base, archery range, 2 in the main base, 1 barracks in the main base, and then up here, 2 barracks, 2 archery ranges. So we're not looking at much in the grand scheme of things, right? Unfortunately, but I do have decent map control, just in the sense I have a sacred. I have 3 relics. This is another thing that I struggle with terribly bad. You'll notice that I'll make my daggone monks, but unfortunately, they're not in the battle like they're supposed to be. Unfortunately. And this boy's shredding the army, right? Unfortunately, so I think I'd make a tactical retreat. Trying to build more production at this point. And look who's coming with the raid again, which is smart. Do they not need, what's it called? Because I'm not seeing no upgrades for him. But I was able to get a few things done. So, neither here nor there. Drop that in the comment section below. Because I don't know if Mongols even need an armory for upgrades. Because I'm like, he doesn't have any upgrades. At least none that I'm seeing. know, lot of wood, decent chunk of gold, but nobody on gold right now, and then a lot of food. So once again, I know I go back up there to close that wall. And one of these times it does not end well when I go up there to close that wall. So production, we ended up adding a lot more production. He hits Imperial, I'm not thrilled, and look on that mini map below, y'all. I realize once it's too late. Trying to get over there. Down two of them bad boys. And I'm like, pull back, don't want to chase too much. I want to get that wall completed. He keeps knocking it down and just causing headaches. Right? So, still sitting at 6 manners, able to get 9, but we're not there quite yet. And at this point in time, I still think I'm in a good position, but I remember thinking to, not even thinking to myself, I forgot, right, that he went to Imperial. So I'm sitting on 3 for God knows how long, thinking that I'm still in a good position, and he's already on age 4. Another thing I struggle with. Let's take a look at our gold down here, right? So 2,548 gold. One thing that I make the mistake of, and I do this a lot, I'll be floating a ton of gold, and I forget to drop a market. I could have easily went up to Imperial 10 minutes ago. Not even exaggeration, like just the amount of gold I'm sitting on could have easily went up. So I'm like, I need to drop back. Now in my base, which is not ideal, and look what he does. And this is essentially the beginning of the end, ladies and gents. Things just go downhill from there. So hindsight is 2020, right? Map awareness I have to do a lot better on, genuinely, right? Like I struggle splitting up armies, another con. I have to make sure I'm splitting up armies so I can deal with particular raids and not moving my entire army back and forth. Another headache, right? In addition to that, on top of the map awareness, on top of splitting armies up, just dropping a market, not forgetting to do that, because I'll be floating gold, floating other resources, and it's a lot easier just to be able to balance things had I been doing, you know what I mean, what I'm supposed to do. So I just get one track mind, get caught up, not paying attention to certain things and just forgetting. So here I am, 45 economy, not in a good predicament at all. And now I want to actually do something with the monks. Crazy. Headaches, y'all. And now he's going to town in my base. So that's kind of how this ends up playing out. And we're going to watch it out just to see. But this was literally, it's safe to say that I did not win this game, right? At all. I felt like I was in a decent position. I felt like I had decent map presence. I felt like I had literally, like, I won't say decent production because my production was lacking, right? And I'm talking about production buildings in regards to military. So, and a lot of things that could have played out and happened a lot differently and a lot better. But it didn't. So now I'm scrambling and I'm trying to clean up multiple armies. As I mentioned, and you can see I'm moving my entire army around place to place to place to place instead of splitting them in certain areas. So I finally drop a market at this point in time, but now it's too late, right? So I'm like, now I gotta spend some of this gold. I need units. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I need and it's a little too late at this point, right? So he's still sieging down the front, has all of my workers on the backside, and now he's just literally building behind my base, being a nuisance. And then on top of that, let me switch over to free roam view. Army split. He's ready to cook. Right? That boy is going to town. So there was nothing I could do, and then smart on his end, I believe he starts building towers. Yeah. He starts building towers, y'all. I'm like, I'm just losing villager after villager after villager. I lost the frontal assault. I'm in a bad way, to say the least. So that's kind of how that plays out. So looking back, pros, I feel like I had decent intel, right? In other words, I feel like I was scouting pretty well. I feel like I had decent map presence and map awareness, right? Pro for this particular game, I also was building workers. So my worker count doesn't reflect that now because I lost a lot, but I felt like I actually did that better than I normally do. Got another thing, getting relics. That's another thing I struggle with, right? I actually made that a priority, and I ended up picking up 3 different relics. So that was good. Now let's look at cons. Idle villagers. Rallying villagers to their death. Still haven't changed the rally point. Still haven't taken those villagers out of the town center. Still haven't taken those villagers out of the tower, right? So another con, right? What else? Not aging up to 4. I had God knows how much gold, and I never went up, right? Just due to not paying attention. So neither here nor there. And workers are still in the freaking town center, y'all. So he was very, very smart. Took my attention off the front because I was having to fight the wars, right? Two-sided war. Workers in the back, he took and used those bad boys against me, and in the front is where the main army's coming from, and they never came out of the town center. Crazy business, right? So that's kind of how this game plays out. Not amazing, not my best work, also not my worst work either. Slight improvements here and there. There are things that I'm naturally working on, trying to get better at each and every game, and that's what this whole video, not only video series, but that's what this whole purpose of me dropping these videos are about, right? Feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. More importantly, leave your thoughts below, right? I am ideally looking to become better at the game. So there's a lot, yet again, that I need to improve on, things that I'm aware of, and there might be things that I'm not even aware of at this point in time, right? But most importantly, make sure that the comments are on topic and make sure things are respectful, okay? With that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Feel free to check out the live stream. I'm streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Twitch and Kick. You can check out the links in the description below. Head over to the respective Twitch or Kick, wherever you would like to view from, and you can see the schedule directly on my page over on those respective websites. Not only am I streaming on Twitch and Kick, streaming on mygamingjourney.com. That is the personal website. Currently working on it as we speak, so it's not live yet for personal view, but that will be live very, very soon. With that being said, appreciate you yet again, and God willingly, we can do this again another time. Everybody take care.